Welcome aboard, crew. Clayton here. This is my first video in my bite-sized series where I'll walk you through specific tools and editor functionality, blueprints, and so much more so you can refer back to these on your game dev journey. By the time this series is done, you'll have all the items you need to start building your own games. This is something I wish I had when I was teaching myself Unreal so many years ago. Between games, movies, or creating simulations, there's never been a better time to get started with Unreal. From the ease of use of the engine to the free content they provide, all backed by a very stable company. So I'm excited to get you started. I'm going to walk you through how to install the editor and get you familiar with the user interface. Okay, first thing you want to do is go to unrealengine.com. From this page, we're going to click on Get Unreal, and from here you can download the launcher. This will download the Epic launcher, which you will need for games from Epic and to use the Unreal Engine. If you're interested in system specs, they're also listed right here on this page. So once you click download, go ahead and install that file, then open the Epic launcher. Once you're in here on the left-hand side, click on Unreal Engine, and then click on Library. So once you're here, this will probably be blank for you if this is the first time you're running this. Next to engine versions, you can click this plus button, and it will give you one of these tiles with the latest version that is available for you to install. If you wish to install a different version, simply hit this drop down, and you can take this all the way back to 4.26. I already have 5.4 installed, and I do recommend that you install 5.4 and begin your journey with that. So go ahead and click install, wait for this to run. It will take a little bit of time. During the process, you will be prompted to install other components. I do recommend that you install Visual Studio Community Edition 2022. After version 17, there's a plugin that allows seamless integration with Unreal that makes them work together a lot nicer than they have in the past. If you're interested in Visual Studio Code, you can also download that and set that up in the editor preferences. I will not be going over that in this video. Once you have the engine installed, you can come to this screen. You can click this drop down and click on Options. So depending upon the type of project you're wanting to create, a lot of the core features and templates will be here. If you wish to create mobile games, augmented reality, or anything along those lines, you will want to check the various boxes here to get them installed. Otherwise on the screen, any of your recent projects will be listed here in the middle, and then any assets you might have from the Unreal Marketplace will be listed down below. We'll go ahead and launch the engine. Now the first time you launch Unreal, it does take some time to pop up, so be patient with it. When the editor first comes up, it will bring you to your recent projects screen. If this is your first time running it, obviously you won't have anything here. If you go to games, you'll see a variety of templates that are automatically available for you. You can start with a blank template if you want. Otherwise, there is augmented reality, virtual reality. There are first-person shooters that comes with characters with only a set of arms, but the ability to grab and shoot a gun. There is third-person character, which is simply the character from a third-person point of view. There's also a top-down template available and a vehicle template. If you're not wanting to create games and you're wanting to get more into short films, videos, architecture, automotive simulations, there are also many templates available for you to do this. So right now I'm going to click the third-person template. Underneath of that, you'll have the project location. So where on your hard drive do you wish to install this? I do recommend that you have plenty of hard drive space, as some of these projects can get quite large. On the right side, underneath, you can choose if you primarily want this to be a blueprint or a C++ project. So just because you choose one or the other doesn't mean you can't add the other in later on. I do recommend you start with blueprints, as most of your functionality will be done there unless you have a background with C++ programming. From there, you can choose your target platform, your quality presets, and then if you want to add starter content for prototyping to your system. For now, I recommend you click starter content. If your hardware supports ray tracing, you can turn that on. Keep in mind this is an expensive operation and is not supported by all systems. Underneath of that, you can name your project. So I'm just going to call this my first project. I'm going to click create. So the first time you create one of these templates, it does take a little bit extra time to open due to it compiling the various materials and shaders. Just be a little patient with it. Other times you open the project, it will be a little quicker. And that's it. Welcome to Unreal. So now I want to go over to the user interface and get you started with some of the basics so you can start to feel comfortable in the engine. So in the middle, you have your viewport. This is where you see everything you're creating. So if you hold down your right mouse button, you can tip the camera around. If you continue to hold your right mouse button, WSAND, classic game controls, will move your camera around the environment. While holding right click, if you scroll your mouse wheel up and down, you'll notice up here in the upper right corner, you can change the speed of the camera. So if it's moving too quickly to start out with, you can change that, or if you really do need to speed it up, you can. In the toolbar up here, you have your save button. You have your select mode. This is how you're going to switch between the default select mode, landscape, foliage, modeling, chaos fracturing, lots of different options here. Next to that, you're going to find your add button. Under here, you're going to find a lot of the primary content that you need to add to your world. So the basic stuff like actors, characters, and pawns, your lights, even your basic shapes. So we will on sphere, and here it is in the world. Outside of that, if you're not sure where something is, or if you're having a hard time finding something, you can always search for it right here, and it will show you a path. Next to that, you will find options for creating blueprints or opening a level blueprint. Just a little bit beyond that is the play game button. So if I move my camera over here and I hit play, you'll notice the game, this third person template comes ready to go with the character and input controls already set up. You can see our sphere just floating in the air. So if you notice when I clicked and played the game, my mouse cursor is gone. If I hit Shift F1, I will get my mouse cursor back. So if I want to stop playing the game, I can either hit stop right here, or I can press escape on the keyboard. Either one will stop the game. All the way over on your right, you're going to find your settings options here. So here's where you'll find world settings. You can open that up. And on any of these windows, if you open world settings and it's here or somewhere else, I always like to put mine right over here next to my details tab. You can drag these windows around and dock them just about anywhere you want. And if for some reason you find that you have messed up your window and you don't like where anything is, you can always come to Window, Load Layout, and hit Default Editor Layout. And then it's going to put everything right back to where it was. Beyond here, you can find project settings, our plugins option. Worry more about this later. I know there's a lot of options in here, and your first time seeing it, it can feel a little overwhelming, but you have to remember Unreal Engine out of the box is ready to make games, make short films. So there's a lot of options here. You will not use 75% of the majority of the time. On the right side, you'll have the outliner. This is a list of items that are in your world that you can view and manipulate in your viewport. When you click on something, it will highlight it for you in your outliner. You can search for something in your outliner right here in the search bar. Once you have something highlighted on the details panel down here, in this box, you will see what the particular item consists of, the static mesh, or if it has any other components with it. Underneath of that, you will find its transform, static mesh, materials, any other information about the object that you have selected. So once again, there's a lot of options in here. You won't use most of them majority of the time. So don't let that overwhelm you if this is your first time in the engine. Down here in the bottom has your content drawer. This is where all of your assets, all of your components that you're going to create, all of your blueprints will reside. Normally this is minimized down here. You can click on content drawer in the bottom left. If you want, you can hit Control Space on your keyboard to open it anytime you want. If you want to dock it in your layout, you can click this here. So for these icons, by default, they're pretty big. You can click on Settings, go to Thumbnail Size, and rearrange those. Or if you want, or you can hold down Control and scroll your mouse wheel to change the size. From here, you can right-click and get your main context menu. This is what you're going to use to create a lot of your items in your content drawer. The primary ones that you use quite often are here for blueprint, class, levels, or maps, depending upon how you know them, materials, and new folders. So I'm going to call mine blueprints. When you create these folders, there's a lot of customization you can do to them. You can set favorites, import content directly to them, or even set colors on them to help you organize everything and make it very visually quick to find what you're looking for. When you're done with the content browser, you can close this and regain space for your viewport. So right now, I highly recommend, with this being your first time in the engine, that you get used to moving items around. You'll notice when I click on items that the move transform tools show up. Every one of these are colored to their X, Y, and Z coordinates, just like they are colored over here underneath the transform for the location, rotation, and scale. So by default, in your viewport, you have several different control options when you choose an item. By default, the move tool will come up. In the upper right-hand corner, you can move over one tool. You'll have your rotate tool. So from here, you can move items around. With this, you can rotate items as needed. Rotate the cube. After that, next to it on the right, you have your scale. Once again, everything is colored for the X, Y, and Z. Or you can grab the center and just scale the whole object. Next to that, you have your snapping tools. And you notice when I resize this, it kind of snaps to certain sizes. If I feel that is too big or too small, I can hit the numbers next to any one of these tools and change the increment in which they operate. Or if I want, I can click on the tool itself so it's no longer highlighted, and you'll notice it has a nice smooth operation from there. So especially for your movement tool, having the snapping turned on helps you align things to a grid, but sometimes you need finer control. So feel free to come in and experiment with the editor and test some different things out. You're not going to break anything. Just play around. That's how you become comfortable with the engine. Okay, that's all I have for this video. If you enjoyed this content, this is a brand new channel, and I do appreciate any likes and subscribes I get. Please let me know in the comments if you enjoy short form or longer form on these tutorials, and if there's anything specific I can help you out with and create a tutorial for you. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.